Hello and welcome to Sleeve Chef. My name is Jana Wolff and I am the dietitian at Comprehensive Obesity Management Program. And we have our very favorite chef.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live episode of The Sleeve Chef, of course, with the fantastic Jana Wolff.
Hello.
Registered dietitian. We want to thank you very much to ABC2 Studios for this beautiful use of their facilities. Always a great time. In case you didn't already notice, we have officially been on the air for over a year. We are at exactly one year
and 1 month.
I know. We actually coordinated that before the show. It was quite fantastic.
Thank you.
So we have some delicious, light, fun, summery food this evening for you.
Packed with protein, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory protein molecules. We're going to get into all of that while you're cooking.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But this is going to be one of your favorite summer dishes, and you can kind of manipulate it a couple of ways too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ideas
there's all sorts of great simple things. That's really sort of the fun part about this recipe that I like. It's really light. It's really flavorful. Mm-hmm. It's very straightforward, easy to prepare. Lots of versatility here as well. Especially like Jana was saying, great point about modifying the ingredient list.
Yeah,
to really
so
sort of cater it to your own personal preferences.
Yeah, you can do anything or add anything, take anything away, and we'll talk about some of those adjustments. So why don't you tell us what we're cooking tonight?
Yeah, guys, so we are going to do some delicious, so it's summertime, it's warming up a bit. You know, we want to do something that's going to be a bit lighter, but it's also going to be packed full of protein, and like Jana said, antioxidants. It's going to be great for you, and still satisfy that craving.
But a little bit lighter.
But a little bit lighter, exactly.
Yes.
So we are going to do a delicious pan-seared salmon that we are going to serve over some mixed greens that we're going to serve with it's this beautiful Sriracha lime vinaigrette.
Yum.
So you get a little bit of heat, a little bit of sour from that lime juice, some coconut aminos in there, and that'll be tossed with some fresh pineapple. And when we say fresh, we mean fresh. It's beautiful, lovely.
Like we're actually going to cut it open.
We are going to show you how to cut open and take care of this beautiful pineapple.
I'm looking forward to that because I usually buy the pre-cut.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the challenges with those pre-cut pineapple that you have to watch out for is you find them, especially in a can, they usually put them in syrup.
Yes.
And it's just going to be hyper sweet and just really like not very palate pleasing at all.
Yeah. And if you do ever get it in a can, if that's what you can afford or if that's what you're looking for, just get it in its own juices or water.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great point. Great point.
Good.
All right.
So I also want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'm going to be opening up the app right now to see if we have any questions and see who's joining us.
Yeah, guys, as always, we really appreciate the questions. We love your live questions. As always, it's so great that you're tuning in. It's great to be able to, we love doing this for you. We really help, and please, again, always hit us with the questions.
Yes. And thank you to Chanel, Antoine, and Kelly, Dave, and I think that's it so far. We got the beginners, the newbies.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah, so thank you guys for all coming.
Absolutely.
That looks beautiful.
Yeah, so this is a beautiful piece, guys, of wild salmon. The price point on this, keep in mind, so we're going to do these 4-ounce portions out of this. This is exactly 1 pound of salmon. A couple key things to look for here. One, smell.
Okay, good.
Fish shouldn't smell like anything. If fish smells like fish, it's probably not any good. Very, very important note.
Maybe a tiny bit like the ocean. That's about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Okay.
And 2, you want the skin to be nice and firm here as well. We've got our skin on.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of times people buy them when they're already cut off, so you just get the little fillet, but that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
All right, and Dave, I love you too. Okay, and Sue? Yes, so far so good, right?
Excellent.
Okay. And I just wanted to mention a little bit about the wild caught because a lot of people ask me about mercury or about farming and any of the health risks that are associated with that because we learned that we have to have some omega-3s in our diet for brain health, inflammatory health, etc. But if you want to, you can always go onto a website called seafoodwatch.org. That's seafoodwatch.org, and it can always tell you like wherever you're purchasing or whatever is freshest at the time. But what I will tell you also is New Zealand, Norway, and Alaska, and the U.S. coast of America. Okay, so those are the places to get the freshest. Okay.
Absolutely, too. And you'll notice as well, key thing here is look at the color. The color of the salmon is really, really important. you really want to keep an eye on the color of this salmon, right? See how it's a much darker hue of that pink, as opposed to that sort of softer hue that you would get from a farm-raised salmon.
Yes.
Now again, farm-raised is still good, but if you could find wild salmon, especially if it's flash frozen or if it's fresh, it's a much better alternative for you than traditional farm-raised salmon.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, and so these are going to be, your salmon's always going to be the highest in omega-3s. What's recommended is about 4 grams per day, which is really hard to get if you're not getting any fish. The best way to get it is through salmon because it's about 2 grams of omega-3s for about 4 ounces.
Absolutely.
You can also get it through flax seeds and small amounts of walnuts.
Right. Oh, nice. I didn't know about the walnuts.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's get this pineapple.
I'm excited
pineapple
about this.
broken down.
Yes.
So, pineapple. We're going to go ahead and, with our non-dominant hand, hold our pineapple. With a dominant hand, our knife. Okay. As always, we're going to hold it like you would a tennis racket, like here, right? Always want to make sure that you keep your fingertips tucked in when you're using your blade. So keep your fingertips from the side of the knife goes up against the side of that knuckle, right? Very, very important.
This is very important for your fingers.
So we're going to go straight across here as well. And we're going to come on the bottom, same thing. All right, now, we've done that so that we can basically have the pineapple sit on a flat surface. Because normally, if you don't, it's going to roll around.
Very dangerous.
I've done it before. Surface. All right, so keep this here for.
All right, and hello, Missy and Nicole and Jake.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of cut straight through our pineapple here. You'll notice, see these little side edges here? That's what we're looking to remove.
Okay.
So we're just going to follow straight down our side of our pineapple here.
Oh, and that's a fresh one. I can smell
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And I just got splashed by it too. That means it's really splashed.
All right, straight through here. Thank you.
So everyone can see
Wonderful.
your beautiful cutting work.
So again, we're just going straight down the pineapple. What we really want to do, it's okay, you're going to have a little bit of waste on the sides there. That's okay. Trust me, you'd rather have that than something that's inedible, which is where these little brown pieces come from here.
Yes. Now, if you don't use the whole pineapple, you know what you can put it in?
What's that?
A protein smoothie.
There you go. Great point. Great point.
Great breakfast for those that are on the run.
Sounds delicious.
Yes. And this is super high in vitamin C and that yellow, full of antioxidants and fiber. Beautiful.
Yep,
So great during the summer.
Straight down here, guys. Be mindful of the waste. You expect a bit of waste from a pineapple. But again, just going really slow, nice and steady, working your way through.
But even though there's a lot of waste, you're still going to always pay a little bit more when it's cut up for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great point. All right.
So you do the labor and you get a discount.
Absolutely. Plus, you get the satisfaction of doing it.
Right. You get to say, I cut the whole pineapple.
Exactly. All right. So that, again, you just want to turn over here to make sure you get as much of this as possible, because this really is inedible, guys. Really want to make sure that we remove.
Yeah, and especially with a sensitive stomach, you want to make sure that it comes
Absolutely.
off. Now, anyone who's about 1 to 3 months out from surgery, you probably want to avoid the pineapple just because it's highly acidic.
Great point.
Same thing, we're going to be making a Sriracha sauce, so you're also going to be wanting to avoid that as well, and I'll touch on that when we get there. But you can always replace it with another fruit or another vegetable.
Yep, great point.
Okay.
Yep, and again, that's what's fun about these recipes, guys, is you can very easily modify them to fit your own personal need based on journey, etc. Absolutely,
a nice mild melon like a honeydew.
Absolutely. All right, guys, so next up for our pineapple here, see this piece in the middle? That is the core of the pineapple. That is also inedible. So we are going to, again, go straight down.
Okay, and hello, Donna. Welcome.
Cut that in quarters here.
I haven't seen you in a while. Okay. So, if you have the grill on and you want to grill some pineapple, if you have some leftovers, that is such a great dessert.
Absolutely. Love grilled pineapple.
Or just on the salad itself.
So next up for our pineapple here, we are going to take our, we've got our pineapple cut up into 4 quarters here. So you don't want to cut it this way. This may look tempting. I'll show you why in a second. But we're going to go the other way, and we are going to go straight down on an angle here, on a bias, to remove that core. See? So
Yeah.
that's what we want to do.
That looked much safer than what you might be tempted to do.
Yep, exactly. So if you want to go the other way, which I definitely don't recommend, again,
it can slip.
It could slip, and it's just going to be not quite as safe as going on that bias.
Yes.
So again,
I stay away from that.
45-degree angle here. You just want to get that core out. And the other trick too, if you're unsure, like I don't know if I've got the core out or not, feel it. You'll feel that flesh of that pineapple will press in. That'll tell you that you've got the entire core out, because the core itself is very, very hard.
Right. So I guess there's really nothing you can do with that core, huh?
No, that core just goes in the trash.
Maybe put it in some water.
That little
to
guy.
flavor the water.
That little guy. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point.
I like to think of the extra things you can do.
Exactly. All right. So for our recipe here, we're going to go cut our pineapple up with some nice large diced pineapple.
Okay. And just for those of you that are joining us, tonight we're going to be making a salmon with a composed salad. Right now we're putting together the pieces of the salad, but heating up the pan, and we talked a little bit about the salmon as well and the health benefits before. Okay.
So again, when you're cutting this in half, this is where you really want to be careful, right? So you see I'm keeping my hand on top of the pineapple. I'm going very steadily through. I'm allowing the knife to do the work. You want to have that nice sharp knife as it goes through.
Yes, please sharpen your knives if you haven't yet.
You are more likely to cut yourself with a dull blade than you are with a sharp knife. Very, very important.
Right. And welcome, Sue. Thank you for joining us.
So this is what we're looking for, guys, for our large dice here. About that size.
About what you get in a can, probably.
Exactly.
And like we said earlier, if you're going to go for canned fruit of any sort, really, you want to make sure that it's less than 15 grams of sugar, and you want to make sure that it's in its own juices or in water.
Great, great point.
Okay.
All right. Pop this guy over here. This guy over here.
Now, you might also want to use the excess pineapple stuff that we don't use as garnish.
There you go.
Make it look pretty, especially if you're having people over.
Exactly.
This is a great dish to impress your guests, too.
Oh, yeah. Light, simple,
easy,
straightforward.
nutritious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right, and please feel free to send in any questions, even if they don't really have to do with this particular recipe. You can certainly send in your questions about any nutrition or cooking, anything that you've been wondering, and we'd be happy to answer that.
Absolutely, guys. So here, once again, this is going to be much more of an eyeballing for our 4-ounce portion here. So I cut it up so it's a 16-ounce portion of salmon, so exactly 1 pound. So basically all I'm going to do is just take it, go straight down the side here, and really cut it into 4 equal portions.
Yes, and if you're not a math genius like Mike is, in the 1 pound you have 16 ounces. So if you do the math, it's going to be 4 ounces for 4 pieces.
Exactly. All right. There we go.
And Lynette, thank you for joining us. Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody.
And remember, when you make something like this, especially after surgery, or even if you're just practicing for before surgery, I always recommend eating the proteins first. You can fill up on other stuff like the salad, which is great, but you want to always eat the proteins first.
Such a great point.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. So next up is going to be we're going to put a little extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper on our fish.
Okay.
So as you can see, we cut those into 4 equal portions. We're going to put a little extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper on our fish here.
Now, what about using like a spray olive oil for that?
You
Can you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If you want to substitute that in place of that, you can.
Okay. Just a little bit of salt there.
Yep. A little kosher salt, a little black pepper here for our salmon.
Okay. And just as a review, if you don't remember from before, you weren't here, that salmon is super high in omega-3s. It helps with brain function, cellular function, the inflammatory response, especially in the gut, and has some cardiovascular benefits. So you might as well.
Absolutely.
Indulge, right?
All sorts of deliciousness.
Okay.
All right, so next up we're going to make that Sriracha lime vinaigrette, guys.
Yum.
So a vinaigrette is basically, it's oil and vinegar. So really the key thing for a vinaigrette is the ratio of vinegar to oil. We want to go 1 part vinegar to 3 parts oil. So when I say parts, I say 1 cup of vinegar to 3 cups of oil, right?
Right.
That's really the ideal sort of way. So you can, again, cut that down based on your recipe. You can go up, you can go down based on your need.
For however many people you're serving, or if you're just serving yourself, so you can go smaller. And Dave was asking, is it possible to do fish for the pureed stages? And I want to go ahead and say absolutely, you can certainly puree fish. For some people it might not be the best option, just because some people have like actual visceral responses to pureeing food.
Yep.
And you might already feel a little bit nauseous after surgery.
That is a great point.
If you really want an awesome source of protein that's really lean, yes, go for the fish, puree it, absolutely. Why not?
All right, so we've got our coconut aminos and we've got our rice wine vinegar in our pan here, in our salad bowl here. We're gonna slowly drizzle in our vinegar, or our oil. And this is where we're gonna bake this emulsion.
Okay.
Let me show you guys a really cool trick. Question.
We have a question, yes.
I do have a question. Where do you find coconut aminos? In
Great question. Couple places I've seen them. They're coming to a bit more popularity. So you'll be able to find them Wegmans, Trader Joe's.
Like with the oils, or where?
Typically with the oils or the soy sauces.
Yep.
It depends, because sometimes they place the soy sauces. So basically, coconut aminos is a substitute for soy sauce. So if you have a soy or wheat or gluten allergy, or you just want to stay away from those things, coconut aminos is a good replacement. So sometimes they'll put it with the soy sauce, sometimes they'll put it with the oils and the dressings. And the coconut aminos, in its name, actually has the word aminos. Aminos are the acids that are the building blocks of proteins. So you will get a little bit of amino acids when you use coconut aminos.
Great
now,
point.
I want to say something though, because you know me as the pragmatic dietitian. A lot of the websites that promote coconut aminos, they go crazy and they say, oh my God, they have all these health benefits, but you're using such a small amount that you might not actually get all of the health benefits that they're talking about. So just something to keep in mind, putting it into perspective. Mm-hmm. And Sue was asking, in general, which kind of vinegar is best? And I'll say, just in terms of taste, it's up to your preference.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
I would say for this particular recipe, guys, rice wine vin. You want more of a neutral vinegar flavor. I like rice wine vin for this. Red wine vin as well.
I like how you call it vin. It's like cool. So
yeah, red wine vinegar, rice wine vinegar.
Yeah.
Those are really kind of the two, I think, ideal. Balsamic's going to be too heavy for this particular application.
Definitely, yes.
Balsamic really sort of needs to exist by itself. Mm-hmm. You really want a neutral, much more of a neutral flavor like rice wine, or for example, that even red wine might be a little bit too big. Mm-hmm. Apple cider, you get a little bit of sweetness in there as well. That might be kind of interesting to play around with. But again, that's what's fun about this recipe is you can play around with these different vinegars and how they'll play.
Yes, and I have to say that making your own dressing is like the best thing that you can do. Once you learn how to make a dressing, it's so easy and it makes the salad so much brighter. But also, I have to say that rice wine vinegar is one of my adult favorite things. Like, I didn't know about rice wine vinegar when I was a little kid. And then I met my husband, who actually happens to cook a lot, and he introduced me to rice wine vinegar, and it goes in almost everything. Don't you feel like it pairs well with so many things?
Exactly. It's a very neutral flavor, which is why the application is again, you're able to sort of spread it across multiple different applications, because it's not really going to overwhelm one particular ingredient.
It'll usually complement it. And you know where I like it the best? I like it in my cauliflower rice. So if you're making like a fried kind of rice, that's the best place for it, because it brings out this kind of sweetness and vinegary kind of taste, which is nice. All right, Krista, welcome. And Jane, Krista, you did not miss much. We're just making a beautiful salad with some chopped up pineapple. We're going to be cooking some omega-3s in our salmon.
Yeah, put some delicious coconut aminos in there.
It's a very simple recipe, so if you do miss anything, you can always re-watch it and just get the recipe online.
Yep, so we've got the juice of 2 limes here, guys. Again, fresh. You can see, I have concentrated lime juice. It's good, definitely go for the fresh lime juice is always going to be better.
Yes, I
always.
agree.
And limes are 3 for $1 or something.
Yeah.
So again, there's no
Perfect.
Don't allow the cost to deter you.
No.
Do a little comparison shopping.
And so we have the rice wine vinegar.
Yep. So we got
What
the
else?
yep. So we added our rice wine vinegar first. So the list was the rice wine vinegar, the aminos, the coconut aminos, and then we drizzled in our extra virgin olive oil. So again, that 1 part, 3 part, right? 1 part vinegar, 3 parts olive oil, 3
Right.
parts oil for a vinaigrette. And then we went ahead and once we got our vinaigrette to where we wanted it to be, so it's basically an emulsion. Once we got it to where we wanted it to be in terms of consistency, we added in our next level, sort of like top next tier of ingredient, which in this case was a little bit of sriracha. And we added in a little bit of fresh lime juice as well. So you get a little bit of heat from that sriracha. You get a little bit of nice tart sour from that lime juice.
Yeah,
a little bit of
and-
sweetness from that coconut amino.
What's nice is like, you know, a homemade dressing like this is going to have minimal sugar.
Yep.
You know, sriracha has hardly anything in it. It's just peppers. And you can use much less if you're trying, if heat in your food does bother your stomach. And Krista is still at work. I'm glad that you got to watch.
Yeah, thank you for
And
tuning in.
Clarissa, thank you for tuning in as well
All right.
as Jane.
All right, guys. So
Okay.
now we are all set. So we've got our dressing here. We've got our salmon. So you can see this is a really key thing, guys. We don't mention much, but we do a lot of. It's called mise en place. If you've ever watched Food Network, mise en place or mise, depending on, you know, kind of if you're in the circles you run in with Bourdain and all these fun
Yeah,
people.
shortening the word.
Right, shortening
Yeah.
the word. Literally means everything in its place. It's a French term. You'll hear it a lot in cooking, right? And so it's really all about preparation. So you can see here, we lined up our ingredients ahead of time. We have our salmon ready. I've got my pan hot. I've got my vinaigrette made. I've got my pineapple diced up. I've got my salad greens sitting over here. Granted, they're off site, but they're still here.
So you can do everything really efficiently.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
and
you
nothing
just-
gets burned or
Right, so you're not,
yeah.
exactly. One,
Yeah.
one of the key reasons why people burn food are 2 things. 1, because the pan's too hot, and 2, because you're trying to do too much. When you're cooking, you really want to be able to ideally focus on one thing at a time, and then do that in the order from what's going to take you the longest to what's going to take you the shortest.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it.
Absolutely.
Sasha, thank you for joining us.
All right.
What I
So-
found interesting was when you were making the dressing, you had all the vinegar type of stuff on the bottom, and
Yep.
then as you were pouring in the oil very slowly, you were whisking it, so it did
Yeah,
create that emulsion.
absolutely,
So
and
it'll
that's-
stay like
Yep,
that.
and you want to drizzle in nice and slow. That's a
Yeah.
really key thing. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and build this salad up. So we've got our pan nice and hot, not smoking hot, but again, just a nice hot temperature. We're going to go ahead and add our salmon to the pan. A key thing that you'll see as well that we know, again, don't talk much about, is well, what side do I know to put down first? What do I do? What do I do? Presentation side first is a term that they'll teach you in culinary school that you might hear on Food Network as well, general cooking channels, what have you. And by that, they mean I'm going to present my salmon this side facing up, right? I'm not going to present the skin side up. I'm going to present it this side facing up. So I want to go down, when I put this in the pan, I want to put it in the pan this side facing up, right? My presentation side up. I also want to be able to put this away from me. See, so there we go.
Okay, the presentation side up.
There
That was
you go.
a really good tip. I did not know that.
And then we're just going to go ahead and put a very nice, lay it away from you when you're putting it into a pan. Very, very important.
All right.
Hey, avoid that splashback.
And Eddie, we are cooking a beautiful light salad with some salmon on top. And Sue, we are still not using romaine lettuce. Unfortunately, the CDC has told us
Yes.
do not use it unless you know where it is coming from. So if it's coming from Arizona or any other place that has been targeted for E. coli, you're going to avoid it. But if you went to like the farmer's market this Sunday, then you can probably go ahead and eat it.
Yep.
I
Yes.
am not the CDC though, so please do not. If you get sick, I really would just stay away from romaine altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
I would. Iceberg is an alternative, guys.
Yes.
Iceberg is you're basically have the exact same
Crunch.
composition,
Yeah.
the exact same flavor profile as romaine. Iceberg is a great alternative to romaine.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be cooking our salmon nice and medium rare. So one of the things that people, another mistake people tend to make when they're cooking is they play with their food. So you want to tell yourself, don't play with your food.
Don't
You
touch
want
it.
a nice hot pan. Put the salmon down, presentation
Mm-hmm.
side first. put the salmon down presentation side first. We want to be able to get it nice and hot and leave it alone. That's where you're going to get that color from.
Is there a rule of thumb with how long to keep it down, like by thickness, or is there something that we should know with that?
Depending on how you want to cook it is a key thing.
Okay, so I guess how well done you want it?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, and hello, Donald and Norma. Okay.
So again, that's the color we want here, guys.
Beautiful.
See this? Let's pick this guy up and I'll break it in. I'm gonna leave him in there. All right.
Yeah,
So again, we're gonna cook the salmon nice medium rare. So now that I've got my salmon turned over, this is exactly how I would prepare it if I'm in a kitchen on a line and they're going, okay, fire me one salmon salad. So I've got my salmon in my pan. I've got my vinaigrette made. It would be made separately in a squirt bottle. I've got my greens. Traditionally, we would go greens first, and then the oil. In this case, we're going oil, then greens.
Okay.
That's okay.
And right now we're using some a spring mix.
Yeah, really nice fresh spring mix here.
And it's interesting because in our recipe we call for spinach and arugula. But again, like maybe we couldn't find that in the grocery store and we just used the spring mix. Oh, he's getting his hands in there.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Got to. There you go.
Now with these deep greens, you're gonna get tons and tons of health benefits. High in folate, high in iron. You might as well just go for as many greens as you can all the time.
Absolutely.
That is my recommendation as a dietitian.
Absolutely.
And then Clarissa, spring mix salad is perfectly fine, and especially in terms of like the E. coli scare, you're fine with spring mix at this point, and it's great for you anyway. So don't worry about that.
Yep. We're just gonna, for our plating here, guys, all we're gonna do is just put our salad right in the middle here. Again, nice and simple. Stack it up.
Oh, and we have an important question from Krista. If you don't want salmon, what else can you replace it with? I'm gonna go ahead and say any protein.
Absolutely.
Any protein. So you can do a whitefish, you can do a tuna steak, you can do chicken, steak, anything really that's lean.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Samantha just came on. Hello, Samantha. If you want to rewatch, anyone that just came on, you can always rewatch the show later on if you want to catch the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're not into just salmon fillets like this, you can always make salmon cakes.
Oh, yeah.
You can make salmon skewers. You can make a salmon salad with a little bit of light mayo. You can do a lot with salmon, but you can also do a lot with, you know, any of the other fishes that are out there.
Finish this off here.
Beautiful. Okay, so Krista does not like tuna and salmon. Got it.
Hey, no problem. Plenty of ways to substitute out here.
You know what might be amazing on here? And and there's hot debate about avocado because it's high in fat. But if you take like 1/4 of an avocado and you cut it up, slice it up with this, that would be gorgeous, would it not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can certainly add that in. Again, just really, really simple here, guys. You want a really simple, really straightforward preparation here.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Clean my plate just a little bit.
Now
Again,
I like
this is what you're looking for.
This is a little bit rare, okay? So it all depends on what your preference is.
Yep, exactly.
Some people like more
Right,
medium
yep.
or, you know, well
All
done.
cook. Again, guys, please cook to your preference. Really, really important. There's no need to cook it this rare. You can always go more of a medium well done. If you're going to do that, I'd recommend going into the oven with the pan after you flip over the salmon, because you can get a much more even cook than you're trying to finish it on the stovetop.
Right.
Or if you don't want to go in the oven and your oven's not ready, you can turn your temperature down and then just cook it that way. Because especially with a higher heat, I think it's gonna.
We can't have that salmon run away.
There we go. Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, guys. So what we basically have, here.
And I'm gonna grab some forks.
Yeah, please. What we have here, this is going to be our pan-seared salmon. We serve it over some fresh mixed greens, tossed in a Sriracha lime vinaigrette, and finished with some fresh pineapple. It's a little sweet, a little bit of heat, simple, delicious, straightforward.
Now, Clarissa was asking what other fruits besides pineapple can we use? And we kind of touched on this earlier, actually, especially if you're just out of surgery, you know, within the first month to 3 months, and this might be a little acidic for you, or maybe you might just not tolerate pineapples in general. I mean, you can use any fruit. But
yeah, absolutely. I would recommend, because we want this to be, this is sort of counterbalancing the heat from the Sriracha and the tartness of the lime juice with the sweetness of this pineapple. You could use, you know, honeydew melon, cantaloupe. Those are much lower in acid but they still have that nice hint of sweetness.
Yeah.
That really going to serve to really balance out this.
Yeah, and the color is nice and everything that can go with it.
All right, let's dig in, shall we?
Okay. And I always say this, but my mom told me we have to try the food. Because one time we forgot, and she always reminds me.
It's delicious.
Great salad. Very mild vinegar, but vinaigrette, but still a little heat. This is beautiful. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have one more bite.
Please.
And it smells so good. And you know, if you want to throw this on the grill because you don't want the kitchen to get too hot, you know, in the summer, feel free. This is grill ready.
Absolutely, yeah. This can very easily be cooked on the stovetop, very easily cooked on the grill, whatever is your preference.
Right.
Again, summertime, you want to grill out, you want to do something light and simple for the family, for a friend, for for your loved one, etc. Great recipe.
Yeah, and we did have a question of whether we put seasonings on the fish before, throwing it on.
Yep.
And I just want to answer this because before we had a conversation about cooking in very minimal, so you could actually taste the food. Not putting too much schmutz on it, as my mother would say. So salt, pepper, olive oil.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really, really simple, guys. Like Jana said, extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper. Allow it to come up to room temperature. That's the other key component as well, because it's going to cook much more evenly, right? Versus actually being colder, going right into the pan. It's going to take longer to cook, and it's going to throw off your timing as well. So very, very key that you want to bring it up to room temperature.
Yeah.
But as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this evening.
I had fun today.
We had a great time. Again, we made a pan-seared salmon. We served that over some mixed greens, tossed in a Sriracha lime vinaigrette, and we finished it with a little fresh pineapple. Thank you again so much to ABC2 and the beautiful studio, use of the studio. We have a WMAR.
And thank you guys for showing up and supporting our show. We will see you again next month, and we will definitely tell you about our next recipe coming up. But thank you for coming, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Take care. Have a great rest of the day, evening.